All right, so we're going to talk about the hero's journey and something that I think every entrepreneur should understand, and how to weave this into everything you do, into your webinars, into your sales scripts, into your podcast, and all of those things. So I'm going to show you this with two ways, right? I'm going to show you by breaking down the process, and then I'm also going to show you by weaving my own story into this whole thing. So it'll be kind of dynamic. We'll be doing two things at once. And if you go to any webinar that I've done, any podcast, any resource that you see from me online, most likely you'll now see what I'm doing and the strategy behind why I'm doing that. So the first thing to really understand is that we love movies with a great journey of that hero, right? Your favorite Spider-Man movie, your favorite Superman movie. I'm a Superman guy, right? We love to see the origin. Where did it start? And so I kind of learned this through a couple of things. One of my mentors, shout out to Russell Brunson, and two, I can't remember his name, but he's a really popular film director, right? And he broke down the process that every movie has. And that's where I learned this. So first, let's kind of break this down. The first step you have in the hero's journey is the origin story, the backstory, the thing that helps a person learn about the background of this person. Superman parents were somewhere in I don't want to mess up for all my Marvel fans. See, I might even mess it up. That's DC. I don't want to mess it up for all my people in the comic space, but basically his parents are from someplace in space, and he came to Earth and was an orphan, and he had these superpowers. So let me tell you my story. I always start the story off with the fact that I grew up in a very strict household. My parents are from Ghana, West Africa. They gave us 4 options: lawyer, doctor, engineer, or accountant. And that was all that was acceptable. That was my origin story, right? So this is where it all started for me. My journey starts there because that's where I got the direction of what path I was supposed to be on. The second phase, so we just went through the backstory, the origin story. The second step in this whole process is the call to adventure. So for me, when I went through my call to adventure, it was deciding, you know what? I don't want to go into engineering. I don't want to be an engineer. I went through first year, was cool. Second year, I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And I wrote my mom a 7-page letter breaking down why I'm not going to be an engineer, and I'm going to do this thing called digital media. I graduated during the recession of 2008, 2009, so there were not a lot of jobs. In fact, I applied for 100 jobs and I didn't get not one interview. So this is where you're seeing the call to adventure, right? I'm now having to chart a path to get to where I need to go. And on that path, I'm deciding to go the path that I want to go and avoid the path that my mom had set for me. Everybody in their journey has a path that they're going to go on in their hero journey, right? They're going to accept the call. They're going to go towards that dream. They're going to, whatever movie you can think of, they all have this kind of formula, right? So that's the path there. Now, breaking this down is where the next step is called the struggle. I struggled because now I'm, applying for jobs. I didn't get my job. I'm trying to figure out, what do I do? And the struggle was I didn't get the opportunities that were laid out for me. I still have this dream. All my friends are getting jobs at Geico, State Farm, and insurance things, and just settling. The struggle was hard, right? Here I am working as a student assistant. I think at that time, if I'm not mistaken, I was making $7 or $8 an hour, right? Just trying to navigate, right? It's a really tough spot. I've still graduated with a student assistant job. The struggle is, it's like I made this decision to go on this path, but now I'm looking like a fool, right? It's not working. So this is where a lot of people quit in their journey, right? And this is why you need to highlight these things in your story, because another person can hear this and it could give them motivation, okay? So that's where the struggle is, okay? Then for me, you fast forward to more of a discovery. right? So that's the next phase. So if you're following me, we got the origin story. That's number 1. We have the call to adventure. We got 3, got the struggle. And then 4, we're going to go into the discovery. So I discovered that this is a path I wanted to go on. And part of my journey was reading a book called Caught Between a Dream and a Job. Shout out to my guy, Dr. Delatoro McNeil. I read that book. It changed my life. I found that I really wanted to just navigate this digital marketing, digital media space, but I wanted to be an entrepreneur in it. I didn't want to just work, though the job was my dream job. I got my dream job. I'm working in there. It's about 2.5 years. I said I wanted to leave in 2.5 years. It took me about 4.5 years. And I eventually leave, and I discovered, wow, I could help a lot of people with digital marketing. So I was helping everyone that I could. But I realized that's not what I wanted to do. I had to find, this is where the discovery is, I had to find the area that I truly was passionate about and that I wanted to help people to do. And for me, that was making sure to help speakers, coaches, consultants, experts, people that are great at their craft. Why? Because those are people that impacted my life the most. The Zig Ziglars of the world, the Les Browns of the world, the John Maxwells of the world, people that poured into me, and coaches and consultants that maybe everyone doesn't know as well. Those things were the things that made the biggest difference in my life. And if I can help the impact makers make more impact, that's what I want to do. So what you have to understand here about the discovery part was there's a lot of backstory to this, but I didn't like working with automotive clinics. That I was helping these guys that help more cars to work on. It's like I could care less about them working more on more cars. I was helping doctors get more patients in certain capacity. I actually could care less about that. So I said I needed to discover, and that's just for me, I needed to discover what would drive me and motivate me. And it was that, experts helping other people. So that's step 4. Step 5 is the transformation. So in my journey, in the hero's journey, the transformation came in 2020, March 2020. I won't go into deep elements of the story, but I want to share these things with you because you need to be doing this for homework, all right? So for me, during March 2020, I was on my way. I was in Ghana, West Africa, on my way trying to get back to the United States, and the borders were closing. We all know March 2020, that's COVID-19 or coronavirus at that time. And I was leaving out of Ghana to get back into the United States. I got the last flight out to get back in, and right before the borders closed for the U.S. I got back in. I lost 60% of my business overnight because in-person delivery it vanished, right? So I prayed. I literally asked God, what am I going to do? And he said, you've always been great at webinars. Now it's time. So webinars was something that I came to as a default because everything else I knew wasn't working right there. So I had to have it go through a transformational process. I had to become the person. So I would do a webinar every couple weeks or at least a month. So it averaged out to me doing 3 to 4 webinars a month, 3 to 4 webinars a month for an entire year. And we would see the numbers, 10K, and then 20, and then 30, and then it jumped up. And by the time I looked up, we'd made multiple 6 figures from webinars. So this is the transformation, right? And then after that transformation, I was able to help people. And if you follow me, we're on step 5. That's the transformation. Step 6 is the last step, which is sharing the gift. What I think is the most important part of the hero's journey. It's sharing that gift with the world. It's taking what God has given you to bless others. So as I started to do this for myself, people started asking me, David, how'd you do that? I need help. And I started helping clients being able to do the same thing. And then fast forward, we've helped dozens of people have 6-figure days leveraging webinars and plenty more people making great money online. The reason is because I was willing to share my gift. So if you just dissect everything that I just did, and you'll see I do this so easily, effortlessly, that I don't even realize I'm doing this. But I've never broken it down so you can see the psychology and the importance of every component. So what was that first? It was first origin. Second, the call to adventure. Third, we had to really get clear on the struggle. 4, we had to make sure we discovered where we're going, the discovery phase. 5, we had to get the transformation. And 6, we had to make sure we're sharing that gift to the world. So I hope you take copious notes and implement this for your own business.